Good morning. Welcome to White Bear Unitarian Universalist Church. I'm your lead minister, Reverend Jessica Clay. My pronouns are she, her. We are a congregation bound together by covenant, which means the promises that we make to each other about how we aspire to be. We are held by the UU values of justice, equity, transformation, pluralism, interdependence, and generosity. We welcome immigrants, disabled people, trans beloveds, and those who are struggling to pay bills. We welcome those who are at risk of losing their health insurance, those who are losing SNAP benefits. We grieve with you and work for justice alongside you. All are welcome here. During this time of year when the veil is thin between us and our ancestors, we lift up their legacy this morning. Whether it be joyous or complicated, we feel the memories of them around us and hold each other with compassion. On this Remembrance Sunday, you are invited to bring your photos of your beloved ancestors down to our altar, which I see some of you have already done. But if you have a photo you brought with you, you can bring it down during the opening hymn. If you are visiting us this morning, welcome. We're so glad you're here. You're invited to meet a member of our Belonging and Community team by the fabric wall immediately following the service for a 12-minute intro and tour. In community and news announcements, many thanks to the Music on Maple team for a successful Bazillions concert last night. What a wonderful community event. Knowing that community will help us to move through these times as we lean into these hard times we're in right now, we are starting an outreach project. We want to reach out to members that we haven't seen or heard from in a while, and we need your help to do this. If you're interested in being part of the team to help call and check in with people, please see the table in the social hall after the service. Additionally, we are still looking for donations for our auction. Just a gentle suggestion if you happen to have a lake house or a cabin in the woods. Maybe you have passion to lead a kayaking class or a bread making class, knitting 101, or other ways of sharing your gifts. Please see Jean Doolittle after the service at the table in the social hall. And if you're looking for somewhere to take your little robot, pumpkin, or magician, this Wednesday we're holding a trunk or treat at 5 o'clock prior to the community meal at 5:30. We hope to see you there. Who knows what next Sunday is? It is Sunday. That is true. Fall back. Oh, yeah. You can get the moan out now. Yes, it's fall back, so please remember that next Sunday is fall back. Lastly, your staff team is striving to hear from all of you about what you are longing for in worship and in this congregation. Many of you have seen the weekly polls we've been doing in the e-news. Among the topics, there have been service length, what our funded need at the auction should be for, and I want to draw your attention to this week's poll. Do you prefer a service that's more contemplative or more lively, or both? Right now, the lead is a mix of both with a strong second of contemplative. The poll is still open, so please find it in your e-news and make your voice heard. In that vein, we're asking you to hold your applause during this service until the end to allow people to be present to all that they are holding. Welcome to church this morning. It is good to be together.
My name is Rack, and I use he, they pronouns. Come into this place which we make holy by our presence. Come in with all your vulnerabilities and strengths, fears and anxieties, loves and hopes, for here you need not hide nor pretend, nor be anything other than who you are and who you are called to be. Come into this place where we can touch and be touched, heal and be healed, forgive and be forgiven. Come into this place where the ordinary is sanctified, the human is celebrated, the compassionate is expected. Come into this place. Together we make it a holy place.
My name is Molly, and my pronouns are she, her. My brother Jesse was born when I was just 11 months old. He was my first friend, and people often assumed we were twins as kids. By high school, he was 6'9", charismatic, and wild. His friends loved him. He was the guy who did crazy things that make great stories. But he was enigmatic and could be equally charming and cruel. If you ever met my brother, you remembered him. Privately, Jesse lived with mental health and addiction challenges. While he was everyone's most dynamic friend, living with him could be chaotic, scary, and unpredictable. There was rarely peace for me when he was around. On August 12th, 2012, at the age of 33, Jesse died in his sleep. The coroner was unable to determine a cause of death, but did rule out suicide or an overdose. However, I believe he knew he was dying, and he was ready. After announcing his passing, I was flooded with messages from old friends. Jesse was like a brother to me, they would say. It was ironic to hear, having not felt that way myself for a very long time. My feelings were complex. I was relieved. I was also devastated and had many regrets that I thought would go unresolved with his passing. When he died, my daughter Ada was 8 months old. To keep her occupied while I cooked, I had a music table in the kitchen. Maybe you've seen one. They're colorful, battery-operated, obnoxious toys that a baby can stand at and push buttons to make music. Shortly after Jesse's memorial, I was in the kitchen with Ada in my arms, and the music table started playing in the corner of the room. This got my attention. I looked at Ada and said offhandedly, "Maybe it's your Uncle Jesse saying hello." As if in response, it started playing again. Through tears, I said something like, "If it is Jesse, I hope he knows that I understand he was suffering. I love him, and I forgive him." At this, Ada looked to the ceiling above the music table. She reached her hands up. She was laughing, smiling, and interacting with an invisible someone while the music continued to play. My relationship with my brother didn't end when he died. This was the first of many profound and unexplainable interactions that I've had with him over the last 13 years. They bring me healing and comfort. One of the sources our UU congregations affirm and promote under our wide theological umbrella is the direct experience of transcending mystery and wonder, which moves us to a renewal of the spirit and an openness to the forces which create and uphold life. I light the chalice today for the many different ways we continue to be in relationship with our beloveds and ancestors who have passed. May we have compassion for ourselves and others as we sit with the complex nature of loss and remembrance. Please join me in the opening words. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. Please rise in body or spirit for hymn number 1045 in the Teal hymnal. There is a balm in Gilead.
And so we gather today to reflect upon the legacies of our beloveds. Some beautiful souls I see up here. We reflect on what we learned from them, what they brought us, what they brought to our hearts. And we reflect on our own legacies as well. And so as I was thinking on this theme this week, I ended up going to Richard Scarry. Who's familiar with Richard Scarry? The choir is, it's a certain generation. It's fine. Doesn't say 85, this was published. And so this was part of my childhood. And what world did Richard Scarry create? The real one? Does anyone know what the name of it is? Busy Town. Here we go. You got your Busy Town here. And as we look at Busy Town, tell me, what do you see, Amy?
I see lots of busy things happening in Busy Town.
Yes. Does everyone, what's the kind of mood amongst
There's a lot of rushing around. There's hurrying up. I see a little stress in those faces.
A little stress? Mr. Fix-It looks a little stressed. And also, do you see anyone relaxing, Amy?
I see 0 people relaxing. I see a little fear, a little surprise. Oh, that one's just kind of staring straight ahead and moving along.
That's the lawyer.
Some people are really trying to get a hold of things that are flying out of control.
Firefighters, yeah. So, Busy Town. How many of you feel like you're living in Busy Town these days? Right. And we know that life is precious and short. And so today we come to our congregation to reflect on how we can create more spaciousness, more compassion, to honor those who've gone before, but also to honor our own personal busy towns and try to add a little ease in them. And so some people create altars for their beloveds. I bet many of these pictures are in sacred places in your own homes for you to walk by and greet them and tell them you love them. And Amy, what are the kids doing in their program this morning?
So we are also trying to do what Courtney Martin calls creating time outside of time and holding space for ritual and naming those who have passed. So we've created a memory tree back in the RE wing, and we are going to be writing down names and memories on the leaves, and I invite you all to come visit the tree too and add yours as well. And we're going to hold space up in that hallway for as long as that tree stands. And then we're also going to invite folks to think about what is it like to create time outside of time in your home. So do you have an altar space at home? Maybe it's the front of your refrigerator, right? Or maybe it's the top of a dresser collecting a little bit of dust. But there are spaces that we can create to hold time outside of time. And it's important that we do it here together because we can look around and see beloveds with us who can hold all of these people and things that we're feeling and memories together in community.
Beautiful. Thank you, Amy. And with that, we will sing our kids out to their morning program with Go Lift It Up. Each Sunday, we practice gratitude and support in the form of giving to our offering plate. The gifts collected today will go to support the mission of this congregation, to grow our souls and serve the world. There are a couple of ways you can give today. You can text to give, the number will be on the screen. You can give to the at the website, or you can place cash or a check in the offering basket. Thank you for your generosity and your faith in this life together. The offering will now be gratefully collected.
I'm Reverend Jack, he, him pronouns, and I serve as your associate minister. Many of you have experienced loss, whether it be the loss of a pet, a teacher, a coworker, a grandparent or parent, a child, a grandchild, sibling, cousin, spouse, or dear friend. And this loss might have come years ago or just this past week. The way that each one of us works through our own grief is unique to us. There are many stages, and they don't necessarily come in sequential order. This morning, even though each of us has our own unique combination of losses, the thing that binds us together is that loss touches us all. We often tell a story here of Kia Gotama and the mustard seed. The Buddha tells her that he can bring her son back to life as long as she finds a mustard seed from a family that hasn't experienced loss. As you know, she never does find that family. But she does end up feeling connected to every family that she talks to, and she feels less alone. The thing that connects all of us here in this room is that we've known loss. We've known grief. In just a moment, we will come forward in silence to light these candles of remembrance, to honor and remember your loved ones who have died. If you're attending on Zoom, and want us to light the candle for you, will you make that request in the chat box? And Jessica will light the candle for you soon. If you're here in the room and you'd rather not come forward yourself, there'll be a moment at the end. We'll ask you to raise your hand and we'll light a candle for you. There are 6 helper candles. They look like this at each table, okay? Which means we can have 6 people around each table lighting at the same time. I just ask you to be cautious of the tablecloths. We don't want to step on the tablecloths. That could be bad. I'll release each section one by one, and as you wait for your turn, I ask you to hold silence. And I invite you to look around the room and notice who else has experienced loss or grief. Look around and know who might need support right now and who might offer support to you sometime soon if you become the person with a deep loss. May this moment be a moment of internal processing and external connection to this community of people who have also experienced grief and loss. And may we hold each other in love and care. We're going to come forward now, starting with this section here. Was there anyone here who needed me to light an extra candle for them? This morning, at the tail end of this ritual, it will be good to give voice and embodiment to some of this grief that we're holding. Take a few breaths with me. I think we often imagine that the space where we hold our grief is in our heads and our hearts. Sometimes we forget that grief lives in our bodies too. Grief lives in our individual bodies and in our collective body, our communities. We utter our laments to give voice to what we hold in our hearts and our minds, but sometimes we need to take a breath and notice all the places our grief resides and allow our bodies to help us give voice to what we hold. We might cry or sing or run or wail or stomp or hug our loved ones really tight. Today, we make space for the grief that lives in our bones. And we're going to take a breath together. This morning, we're holding the joys and sorrows of our congregation, and we're holding them tightly and tenderly. In remembrance of Jane Bacon's dear sister Fran, who died earlier this week. Prayers for her and her family. We got news that David Heath passed away yesterday, surrounded by his wife and children. Prayers for him and his family as they mourn his loss and move into the next chapter of their lives without him. We pray this morning for anyone who is in fear of losing SNAP benefits. If you or your beloveds are about to lose SNAP benefits, come see me or Reverend Jessica. We also here have prayers for our friends dealing with cancer and a note that great Aunt Betty died yesterday. She was loved by many and she always showed up. And many of us have prayers and people swirling in our hearts and minds. We pause to take time out of time right now in this space to name them out loud so that this community can hold our beloveds with us. Our griefs and our joys, our hopes and our worries intermingle here in this space. They're interwoven together in this fabric of our community, weaving together across the generations and between our families. May it be so, and make it so. Amen. Please remain seated and join me for just verse 3 of Filled with Loving Kindness. Our reading this morning is On the Eve of His 21st Birthday by Rosemary Watola Trommer. There is a joy that chases sadness and sometimes overtakes it, as if the two are racing down a hill, their shadows sometimes merging. And this is how a woman looking at a photo of her son when he was still alive, his face radiant with elation, might find herself not knowing if her tears are made of gratefulness or sorrow, two parallel emotions that sometimes twine inside us. Nor does it matter to her, gratefulness, sorrow. It seems right she should weep either way. Both feelings are fashioned from love. She is here for all of it. The salt tastes just the same.
Gratefulness, sorrow. It seems right she should weep either way. Both feelings are fashioned from love. She is here for all of it. The salt just tastes the same. These words were written by Rosemary Watola Trommer on the eve of what would have been her son Finn's 21st birthday. Gratefulness and sorrow woven in and amongst her life. Annually, on this last Sunday of October, we gather to honor our ancestors, to sit with our grief and sorrow, to hold our beloved's legacies, be them complicated or not, to listen for gratefulness and sorrow intermingled, and the compassion that comes from that place. This morning, as we sit in our pews or watch from home, let's take a breath together as we tune into our hearts to listen for spaciousness to the callings of our souls. Will you take a breath with me? Many cultures and religious traditions celebrate their dead around this time of the year. October 20th was Diwali, and November 1st and 2nd are Dia de los Muertos. For both of these cultures, marigolds play an important part. Hindus believe marigolds represent the auras of their gods and bring peace to a home. In the Mexican culture, marigolds' vibrant color and fragrance are believed to guide the souls of the departed to their families. These marigolds were grown in my garden. I incorporated them into our service today because it's fall and they are beautiful, but also as a nod of respect to these traditions. And marigolds in the Victorian era in Western European culture symbolized grief and mourning. And now they have grown to represent strength and resilience. See, a marigold is not a picky plant. Who here grew marigolds this summer? Yeah, lots of us. The ones in my garden grew quite large. A marigold will thrive in poor soil, extreme heat, and with minimal water, which is basically my garden. This is the only plant that is still blooming in my yard with the recent freezes we have had. And we are all marigolds, trying our best to thrive in these times, trying to make our way, to hold the lessons of our beloveds who went before us, and to live our one wild and precious life, as Mary Oliver wrote, with purpose and with meaning. And everything is a lot right now. This week has been painful. We had the uplift of the No Kings marches last weekend, and then a physical symbol of our democracy was destroyed right before our eyes. And people are being disappeared daily using our tax dollars. And still the laundry needs to get done. Children's lunches still need to be made. Halloween treats need to be purchased, bedtime stories read, and still life moves forward, stubborn, resilient, and incredibly difficult. I so appreciated Kaz's sermon from last week. At the end, he invited us to be a loving band of wounded healers, tending to ourselves with care. And that's what we, your staff, are trying to do as well. We are tending to ourselves and each other as we make our way through this time. At the beginning of this church year, the staff set goals at a retreat. We usually do a retreat at the beginning of the year, and then we try to do one mid-year. Our goals for this year are to tend to infrastructure and processes, to build in spaciousness, to make space to name the sacred, make space for fun, and to resist tyranny. We are working on them. We decided on a group staff read of this book, 4,000 Weeks by Oliver Burkeman. Has anyone read it? Okay, a couple of you. I picked this book out because I thought from the title alone, it's 4,000 Weeks, Time Management for Mortals. So I thought from the title alone, it would help us to be more efficient, to get more things on our to-do list done, and thereby have spaciousness and more availability for fun. Turns out it is about embracing that we will never get all the lists done. The irony is not lost on me. It's about discerning what to succeed at and what to fail at, to discern what is really important, to face things as they truly are and let go of embracing busyness. He says, who wouldn't want to live in our favorite busy town? Richard Scarry's World I talked about earlier. Nobody is idle. Most of them are very cheerful. This is what many of us believed in growing up, right? This was adulting, right? But historically, we haven't always believed this. In 4,000 Weeks, he quotes the German sociologist Hartmut Rosa, stating that pre-modern people weren't troubled to get the most out of life because they were focused on the afterlife. Oliver Burkeman writes, when people stopped believing in an afterlife, then everything started to depend on making the most out of this life. And that message is what I typically preach on this Sunday. What will you do with your one wild and precious life? What will your legacy be with your 4,000 weeks? 4,000 weeks are the number of weeks if you live to be 80. And just thinking that, writing it, I can feel the anxiety knocking at the door, the emails I have yet to answer, the bucket list items I have yet to do, the hopes for my life with my daughter, and the overall existential overwhelm that is real. And I don't know if you, like me, feel like living in that space is exhausting. Therefore, today, I invite you to reflect on the legacies that you inherited about busyness, about bucket lists, about what was important. And then from that place, decide if that's part of your own legacy, with compassion, with care, with gentleness and ease. We are all just doing the best we can with what we have right now. And as we gaze upon these beloveds' faces, some of these people had 4,000 weeks or more. Some of them had days. And we come to this sacred space, this community, to try to make sense of it, to learn how to live with the fragility of life and the unfairness of life, to remember that deep truth about what is important. It's not about how many things you checked off your bucket list. It's that you listened to that still, small voice that said, this, go towards this. And that's different for everyone. But if we lose ourselves in busyness or shoulds or the whole task list that says you should be doing all these things, we don't create spaciousness to listen. We don't create those altars to honor what's true. And when we take a balcony view, when we create some spaciousness and let go of some things, we remember that what we do matters. Our acts of care, of justice, they matter. And what's true is that we will not see a sense of resolution to many of our struggles, to many of the things our society is struggling with in our lifetime. And we can choose to settle into how to be okay with that, to not rest in complacency or apathy, but a place of peace as we continue to work for justice, making space to listen and discern what we are being called towards and what to say no to, and knowing that our yeses and our nos look different day by day. Many of you might have seen on Facebook over the weekend that this past Friday there was a protest at the Whipple building because the Director of Homeland Security was in town to talk about ICE actions. I went because I could. I went because I knew others couldn't or wouldn't because of safety or mental health concerns. And as I stood there shoulder to shoulder with clergy, many UU clergy were there, I looked out and I saw a couple of congregants from this congregation. And I knew that that was what mattered. I could feel my ancestors there with me, their spirits around me, holding me in care. And when I was speaking with a family member afterward, they asked me, "Are you glad you went? Was it useful?" And I am glad I went. And I don't know if it's useful. But I kept imagining my daughter asking me what I did during this time when she reads about it in her history books. And I knew that this was where I needed to be. I thought of the grandmothers or grandparents who've been seen at protests with signs that say, "I need to be able to tell my grandchildren I did not stay silent." If my Grammy was still alive, she would have been at a No Kings March last weekend as well. And I won't always be able to go because of childcare, because of bandwidth, because I am tired. Are you all tired? But if we accept that we can't all show up for everything and make space to listen to that voice of discernment, we will know when it's our time to be present. And as we reflect on our own finitude, on the busy towns of our own lives, today I invite you to find spaciousness, to make spaciousness in your life, to give yourself grace and compassion. These are hard times we are in. At the end of his book, yes, I skipped to the end. I haven't read it all yet, but I did skip to the end. Oliver Burkeman offers strategies to cope with existential overwhelm, to help each of us discern what is really important, what really matters. And with the fact that we will never get it all done. His strategy I leave you with today is decide what you are going to fail at. What? Can you believe it? That's right, we're going to fail at things, right? Instead of setting ourselves up thinking we're going to get everything done, that kitchen's always going to be clean and we're going to make ourselves feel bad if it isn't, what does it mean to accept failure as inevitable and just decide what you're going to fail at? This is our last Sunday on the theme of compassion. Compassion invites us to remember we will never get it all done. Our busy town is filled with oppression and fascism, and compassion invites us to remember there is another truth. You are not alone, and it is okay to fail. As Kaz said, we are a loving band of wounded healers tending to ourselves with care. Marigolds, all of you. We have the gifts and challenges our ancestors left us with, and our one wild and precious life can be an invitation to embracing failure, finitude, interdependence, and joy. There is room for all of it. And still we march, and still we sing, and still we gather together to remember. Rosemary Watola Trommer said in the beginning of our reading, there is a joy that chases sadness, and sometimes it overtakes it. My wishes for you in your 4,000 weeks or more is that your joy and compassion towards yourself and others is present, that you know it's okay to fail, and that you're connected to something outside of yourself, be it God, love, or humanity. Remember that there is a love that connects us when we grieve together, march together, sit in meditation together, choose what to fail at, and sing together, we feel it. In these hard times, there will always be singing. Always be singing in these hard times. Linda Hirshhorn wrote our closing song in March of 2020 to remind us that even when the world shows its worst, there will always be singing. Please rise in body or spirit. The choir is going to sing it once through to demonstrate it for us, and then we're invited to join in. And remain risen for the benediction. In these hard times, sometimes the batteries on our mic die. I invite you to join hands with your neighbor, or if you'd prefer not to join hands, you can place your hand on your chest. Let's do one more round of In These Hard Times, There Will Always Be Singing. In these hard times, there will always be singing, always be singing in these hard times. In these hard times, there will always be singing, always be singing in these hard times. In these hard times, there will always be singing. May you remember that. And if your voice trembles and shakes, find another who will hold that space with you. Keep singing, keep dreaming, keep loving. The world needs it, and we need it. Amen. Will you turn and invite your neighbor to coffee hour, please?